Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by the all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, offering professional-grade design and functionality. The all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, now available at Richmond area GMC dealers. Dan Doherty at Colonial First Mortgage, assisting customers with home purchasing and mortgage refinancing. Online at colonial1mtg.com and by phone at 804-218-4444. And James Limousine, driven to serve Richmond for 22 years. JamesLimousine.com, 804-273-1540. On this week's edition of Flying Squirrels Insider, the guys dissect the first month of the season for the first place Squirrels. Catcher Eric Sim visits FSI Field and shows you how to cut down base stealers. And Michael Feldstein stuffs his face for Sandlot Sass at the Diamond. That's all ahead on Flying Squirrels Insider.
I just wanted the radio, not another year of squirrel.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Flying Squirrels Insider. I'm your host, Jon Laaser. In just a second, my co-hosts Jay Burnham and Wes McElroy are going to help me break down the first month of the year for the first place Squirrels. But first, we thank the folks that make this show possible, including Colonial First Mortgage, as we sit at the newly minted Colonial First Mortgage baseball desk. Also, your local Richmond GMC dealers who have provided this beautiful GMC Yukon XL on FSI Field for us today. We're a bit later on. We're going to feature our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week, catcher Eric Sim, and he's going to teach you how to cut down base stealers. But quick, a reminder, text FSI at any point throughout the show today to the number 44544, and we are going to hook you up with a Flying Squirrels prize pack. All right, housekeeping out of the way, and already, guys, a month of the season out of the way. It flies by every year, Jay. What has stood out to you about the first place Squirrels?
Well, this might sound off, but it's the unheralded relief corps, the long relief corps at that for the Flying Squirrels. Take into account what Austin Fleet and Phil McCormick and along with that Jack Snodgrass have done for Richmond in terms of coming out of the bullpen. When you build a team starting from spring training in the first month specifically, you need to have guys that can come out and give you innings. You need to have guys that can actually fight when the starting pitching doesn't give you what you need. So Fleet, McCormick, and Snodgrass to some extent have really been able to keep games intact for the Flying Squirrels this year.
And even with their strong efforts, they're never going to get the headlines. That's going to go to the back end guys, the velocity guys. But you're absolutely right, Jay. They've done a tremendous job bridging so you can have the setup guy, Cody Hall, in that role. But it's been Derek Law that stole the show thus far, Wes. What makes him so lethal?
Well, right now, 6 saves, 14 strikeouts, only 4 walks. This guy's got the fastball. He's got the breaking ball. Talking to pitching coach Ross Grimsley, talking about his curveball, where he said, it's a 12-6 curveball. He's even throwing in the comparisons to a young Bert Blyleven. Right now, here's the scary thought about what Law's not doing. He's not consistent, which is tough to tell, but he's not consistent. And the way Grims was describing it, he said sometimes he just needs to pitch more. He throws sometimes so strong, so hard that he takes power over his intelligence. But when he hits his spots, he's tough. When he's consistent, he's tough. And right now, he is clearly the lockdown strong point of this team.
The only thing I heard right there, folks, was 12-6, and that's what Wes McElroy calls the work day every day of the week. Jay, we work a lot longer than that at the Diamond, and I think right now the Giants would love to see Kyle Crick work a little bit longer. It's not that he hasn't been impressive at times, but what are you seeing with the top headliner on this year's roster?
Well, you're seeing that power fastball, mid-90s consistently for Kyle Crick, and the reason why he is the #1 prospect in the Giants organization. But I think you're seeing a little bit of frustration as well. You mentioned these early season pitch counts. There's also innings limit pitch counts as well, that in terms of throwing a certain amount of pitches in an inning, Crick has hit that on occasion this year. I think he's been backed into a corner a little bit in terms of throwing that fastball successfully for strikes consistently, not being able to mix in an efficient breaking pitch at times, and finding out at this level that guys can get a piece of the bat on the ball at that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, so you kind of have to mix things up a little bit more.
And Wes was talking about pitching coach Ross Grimsley. Actually, the Squirrels this year with 2 pitching coaches, Jerry Cram, who has a long resume as well, working with Kyle Crick. And as I've said on the broadcast a number of times, a lot of that work's going to be done behind the scenes, and it's almost somewhat unfair to grade Crick on what is happening during his handful of starts to this point. Wes, I'm going to slip something in here. Text FSI to 44544. We call that the immediate shot to pick up that Flying Squirrels prize pack. And speaking of shots, all of these starters are going to take a few. They're going to give up some base hits as they learn this level of hitting and above. Ty Blach has probably been the most consistent with his command. All of the 4 big headliners have had their moments. Where are they at collectively to you?
Right now, it's just about learning to hit their spots. These guys know what they want to do. It's finding what they have to do, finding it, and then repetitively doing it. Keep hitting those spots. Keep doing the same thing. It's all part of the training. It's all part of the teaching. And that's one thing that's made Ty Blach very successful. He's an intelligent pitcher. He learns well. He adapts well. And right now, this is a guy who can command both sides of the plate. He throws inside well. He's intelligent, and we knew this coming in about his ability to adapt from Creighton to single A ball to double A ball. This is why this guy is getting comments about being a possible back end of the rotation for the Giants in 2 years and out of minor league ball, just because he learns quickly, and he adapts quickly.
You mentioned Creighton, and Ty Blach has a couple of years on Clayton Blackburn, who is another one of those guys that is so command-oriented. Blach 23, Blackburn just 21. Jay, Adalberto Mejia gets lost in the shuffle a bit, but just 20 years of age, he might be the best of all of them eventually.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how he has been lost in the shuffle, not only in terms of talking about, yeah, perhaps, and it might be Baseball America's fault as well in terms of being able to grade this guy. And first of all, I think they've all been very exciting to watch, and you certainly can see the steps that they've taken from start 1 just to start 4. And for Mejia, who actually missed most of the start because he took a line drive off his lower leg, still able to develop time and time every time he takes the mound. I think one of the things you're going to start to see is if you throw a pitch in a certain situation, it doesn't get the guy out as it would have at the previous level. How do you then figure out with your catcher what we're going to do to get the opposition out? Do we throw a breaking ball perhaps a little bit further down in the zone, start it off at a lower level, maybe change speeds a little bit more? So I think as you start to see these guys figure out how to pitch, it's going to get better and better for the team in terms of wins. But in respect to Adalberto Mejia, I think he might be the most impressive, at least in terms of the ability to do that from the start of the season.
I think Jay hit the nail on the head right there for our viewers, and that's adjustments. We use the cliche game of adjustments, but I think if you were ranking those 4 prospect arms right now in terms of their ability to do it, and disagree if you want, you'd go Ty Blach 1, Clayton Blackburn 2, Adalberto Mejia 3, and then Kyle Crick still trying to figure out how to work off that power fastball, which some of his secondary stuff, to have success at this level when guys aren't swinging through that fastball like they were in the California League and below. Well, we're going to spend a plenty amount of time on the pitching staff throughout the season thus far, but hey, we talked about it on episode 2, and we'll do it again today. This offense is not lighting up the league statistically, but they're continuing to get the job done, guys. How have they continued to do so under Russ Moorman?
Well, they've been able to take bases. They've been very aggressive at the plate as well and on the base paths. And I think one of the things that they've been able to do, and credit the bottom portion of the order, Kelby Tomlinson has started to see his fair share of pitches, being able to get on base, turning things over to the top of the lineup, which will be significantly different going forward without that impact player at the top. And Tyler Graham, we'll see how this offense is able to adjust with the loss of Graham, who left this homestand with an injury.
I was going to be the storm cloud and bring up that injury to Tyler Graham, actually because of some storm clouds. See what I did there? You missed a couple of games. You didn't have to eat as many games without that dynamic player at the top. However, you're going to go on the road again, Wes, without him. What does that mean to this team? What
does that mean? 12 stolen bases, 14 ribbies. I talked to Kenny Joyce about this, the hitting coach, and I think we talked for 5 minutes, and he used the word catalyst 15 times. He said, this is our catalyst guy. He gets on base, he takes bases, and here's the other thing. What did the great Yogi Berra say about the mental part of the game? 90% of the game is half mental. He makes pitchers think. He gets on base, and he's making a pitcher think not about just the batter, about what Graham's going to do at first or at second, and now that's missing, and that's going to be missing. And here's the other thing that I worry about. Just when anytime you bring up a groin or a high ankle sprain, it's a nagging injury. So you hope when he comes back, he's able to come back and produce that speed and produce, those effects on the base.
We have the luxury, and again, our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week, Eric Sim, will join us in just a few moments here on FSI, of looking back at what a loss might mean. Managers, coaches, they don't have that luxury, nor, by the way, is Eric Sim going to be one of the candidates I'm about to mention to replace Graham for the foreseeable future. Ryan Lawless is an option. He hit leadoff quite a bit last year for the Squirrels. Skylar Stromsmo gives you that versatility defensively, and he could potentially be in the lineup each and every day. And Kelby Tomlinson, we've seen him up there a few times as well. Jay, if you're picking out of those three, who are you looking at right now to take over in the short term?
Oh, no offense to the other guys, but I think you have to go with Ryan Lawless in this one. Lawless was there last year. He's a consistent hitter. He struggled a little bit this year and, in fact, played winter ball briefly in Venezuela, struggled there as well, and I think he's just starting to find his approach and his swing as probably the best time you can when an opportunity has arisen for him. So Lawless, who was your center fielder every day last year, has had success not only at this level but at the level above. This is Lawless and an opportunity for him to replace. It's going to be tough to replace Tyler Graham. I think everybody knows that, but Lawless can do so in a different way at the top of the order and manage to be a guy that gets on base consistently.
And I think Jay's right. I think Ryan Lawless is going to be that choice. He has been the first couple of games that Tyler Graham was out of the lineup, and we'll see. It's probably going to be a combination of those three guys, hopefully, barring health for them going forward. I've got a health nugget of a negative nature in just a second, but as we close from the Colonial First Mortgage baseball desk, guys, start to see that roster movement. We'll see it roll throughout the season. We've got our first big news from a big man as a powerful bat joins the Flying Squirrels, and outfielder Devin Harris. Wes, what do we know about him?
Little. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. He hits for power. The one good thing about his call-up is he's familiar with Kenny Joyce. They work together in the Arizona Fall League. He can hit the fastball, struggles with the off-speed stuff, but the biggest thing about him is, like any other prospect, it's to get in there, calm down, calm the nerves. You know what you're doing just to get into your zone and be comfortable in the position, and then you're able to learn.
And unfortunately, the news that Harris was heading to Richmond directly coincides with news that the top-rated position-playing prospect that we had anticipated being here in Richmond, Mac Williamson, is not going to be during the 2014 season. Giants releasing the news that he will go under the knife for Tommy John surgery, meaning he's going to be out for the calendar year. That's certainly a blow to the plan that the Giants had in place for this team. We've mapped out a busy plan again for you here at FSI, and once again, text FSI to 44544, and we are going to hook you up with a Flying Squirrels prize pack. That's FSI to 44544. A little bit later on, our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week, Eric Sim, is going to teach you how to throw out base stealers here on FSI Field. But when Flying Squirrels Insider continues, we let our own Michael Feldstein loose at the PFG Food Show. It's Sandlot Sass, and that's straight ahead.
He's Jared Parker, the most interesting ball player in Virginia. When he checks his swing, the umpires appeal to him. He not only hit 2 home runs in 1 inning, they both were in the same at bat. Before he played at the University of Virginia, they were known as the Bunnies. They became the Cavaliers to reflect Jarrett's style. He's even well known in nature circles. The birds and the bees actually come to him for the talk.
Not all squirrels come from Virginia, but this one does. Stay squirrely, my friends. Welcome to Sandlot Sass. I'm Michael Feldstein. We're here at the Diamond today where PFG is having a food show. It's not about baseball today, it's all about the food. And here to tell us a little bit more about it is the Executive Director of Food and Beverage here at the Diamond, Ben Riffrock. Ben, how did this event come about?
Basically this came about with our partnership with PFG. They're our food service provider. That's how we got hooked up with them. They just came in a conversation over time, over dinner I think it was at one point. We've done these in the past at different ballparks, but this is something we wanted to try here with our relationship with PFG. So this kind of just came about. It's great atmosphere, great time to just be together with them.
So let's go check things out and grab a bite.
It's good to start off with a cocktail and check it out. Looks like we have some beverages already available to us today.
see your ID, please.
Really? Come on. I don't look old enough. How old you got to be to have one of these things? Come on.
At least 21.
I don't look at least 21.
Dressing is very, very potent. This dressing is very rich in flavor, and we're not sure anyone under 21 can handle so much good dressing at one time. This hot dog is huge, but it doesn't bite. So you can try some if you would like.
Now, what if I'm a vegetarian, though?
Oh, well, then have a burger. Oh,
Veggie burger?
Vegetarian. I'm not sure you're at the right place.
Seafood fair. That's kind of something a little bit different.
Yes, it sure is. I mean, you really don't think about, seafood at a ballpark, but we've got the Sea Dog here. It's actually a 4.5 to 5 ounce piece of cod loin, beer battered, and Sea Dog Pale Ale, which is out in Portland, Maine, where the Sea Dogs, who actually do play here at the Diamond one time every season.
Now, if you're one of the little kids, you like SpongeBob, the Krusty Krab, are there any Krabby Patties up for the offering?
We do actually have. We have nice crab cake here, and actually that would be great when the Bowie Bay Sox are in here, because Maryland's known for their crab cakes. We can take care of them. We can beat them on the Diamond, and we can also beat them in the kitchen, have the best crab cake in the town.
Now, I know those teams are by the water, but I just came up with a good one. How about the Altoona Curve?
Oh, some tuna. There you go.
We're here with the president of Virginia Food Services, Mike Morrell. And despite the weather today, a little bit of rain and a little bit of party, it's been a pretty good turnout.
Sure it has. It's been a great turnout. We're excited to be here today. We'll definitely do this again. We'll probably do it again this year, maybe in the summer.
All right, you got to tell me, what was your favorite item and what was the one item today that you said, I got to try that?
Oh, probably the cobbler. I mean, you don't want to miss out on any of our desserts. We have a great dessert line, Everything else is good, but desserts are best.
FSI continues as we move to FSI Field, and we're excited to do so as we welcome in our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week, and that is Flying Squirrels catcher Eric Sim. And first of all, Simbo, thanks for being here, man. We do appreciate it.
No problem.
Well, I know it was an adventure for you to get to the studio today because you were driven by our correspondent, Michael Feldstein. We just saw his Sandlot Sass, but it was also quite a bit different journey for you to get to professional baseball than it was for most of your teammates. Yep. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. I was actually born in South Korea, and I was there until I was about 13. I moved to Canada. Ever since then, I've been living there, and then I went to high school there and everything. And then I went to junior college in Kansas for 2 years, and I went to University of South Florida for a year, which is in Tampa. And then after that, I got drafted 27th round. So ever since then, I've been with the Giants. So.
Talk about that transition from South Korea to Canada. Obviously, South Korea is pretty baseball crazy.
Yes.
Canada, not so much.
Right.
What did that do to your development and the experiences that you were having within the game?
In Korea, they'll tell you what to do, and then they'll show what you're supposed to do throughout the day. When I was in Canada, there was nothing. I had to really find what I want to do, what I have to do to get better. Throwing, whatever. So I had to do a lot more research when I was in Canada, and then I kind of had to push myself instead of people telling me what to do, so it was a little different.
And of course, you had to get used to the police wearing those weird Mountie outfits, which I don't think anybody in America has gotten used to quite yet. Well, you did get into professional baseball, though, and since you've been with the Giants, you've played that valuable role of a catcher who's been able to adapt to multiple levels, sometimes in a season. You've already been at 2, Augusta before Richmond.
Sure.
What's that like? Entering a new clubhouse, sometimes every few weeks?
It's actually a little easier now because this is my 4th year with them, and then I kind of know a lot of guys and stuff, so it's a lot easier. At the same time, in the beginning, it was a little tougher, because I didn't know them, and all of a sudden I'm catching them, and it's a lot easier when you get to know them, and then, so it was a little tough in the beginning, but now I made some adjustments, and then it's kind of easy for me now. So.
Jeff Arnold gets hurt first game of the season. Nobody wants to see that, but that left this team with quite a hole to fill because this pitching staff is very highly heralded, and that's no secret. What's it like working with a group that San Francisco considers the future, and does that add any pressure for yourself and Miles and Eliezer and the rest?
I don't think any pressure, really, but obviously, we want to take care of these guys. It's our job, and we just want to get these guys to get better. At the same time, it's the same old, we're just playing baseball, so not too much pressure from me.
Eric Sim is our guest, and in just a moment, as he is our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week, we're going to kick these chairs out, and he's going to show you how to cut down base stealers with different pitch locations. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, Eric, I know that a lot of times you'll see countrymen hang out with countrymen, and there are certainly a lot of Dominican players and a lot of Latin players in general. You don't see a ton of Korean players, but I know you just had the opportunity to hang out with Bowie's outfielder, KD Kong. How is that, and how important is that for you to get back and talk and socialize with people from where you're from?
Right, it's amazing. I mean, the opportunity I got to meet him, it was my first time meeting him this year, and then it's cool, man, you know, because he's doing the same thing as I'm doing. You know, like he moved to America when he was like about 14 or so he's kind of been through what I've been through, you know, so it's kind of cool, like, you know, talking to him and stuff, and then, you know, learning too, because he's been in the minors for 7-8 years, you know, so I'm trying to learn a lot from him too, so. Have you worked the term A into your vocabulary yet? I do, and then I try not to say it here because people make fun of me, so the teammates don't like that, so I try not to say it, but yeah, it's cool.
Well, we promised him by bringing him here we weren't going to make fun of him, and you won't want to either once you see the skills he has behind the plate. We're going to come back on FSI with our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week. We're going to get rid of these chairs, and we're going to throw out some base runners. That's dead ahead. All right, chairs are gone. It's action time on FSI with our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week, Eric Sim. We've got him in his natural environment here right behind the disc of FSI Field, and we're going to run through this very quickly, Simbo. Yep. And first I want to talk about, before we get into pitch location and how that factors into getting rid of the ball quickly, just the general mechanics that you might teach a first-time catcher.
Sure, okay. This is the way I like to do it. Everyone's a little different, but the way I like to set up is a little opened up. Okay, my butt's up, give me a low target, and when I get the ball, I do a little triangle right here, and then boom.
Try to step to the front of that triangle.
Right, exactly, but you want to stay behind the plate.
We've got our unheralded left-hander, Wes McElroy, out here in the bullpen. He's going to throw us some pitches. So let's just do that one time. We'll just say it's right down the middle, called strike 3, runners going. We're looking for the strike him out, throw him out. Beautiful pitch, Wes. We'll try that one more time. There it is, centered up, and as you can see, you're trying to get that shoulder kind of pointed at your target, right?
You always want to point at the target you're throwing, so if you're throwing third base, you want to point that target.
Let's get a little bit more complex on it because it's not a perfect world. Every pitch isn't right down the middle, and by design, sometimes.
True.
Now, let's say we think that a runner might be going. We're not necessarily going to pitch out, but you're probably looking for something up in the zone,
Something up and away, yes.
And why does that make it easier to make that throw?
Because your body's already turned, so you're pretty much all you have to do is make the transfer and then make a good, accurate throw.
All right, let's see that, where the pitch will somewhat lead to the throw down to second base. That's a little bit up and away, and he's already reaching up, as you can see, into that triangle to make that throw. Right. Now, again, guys don't like to make it easy on you. I don't know why. They try to make it as difficult as possible for Eric Sim behind the plate. We're going to try to bury a guy with a back foot slider. That's coming down and in to the right-handed batter. You know that's coming. What are you looking for from the base runner? That's obviously the time when a lot of teams will try to run on you.
I mean, I just got to make a good, accurate throw, obviously. At the same time, like, I really got to work in, getting inside the pitch and then make a good, accurate throw.
Does the batter, in this case me, play any factor when it's coming down and in like that?
Yes. I mean, if it's close to you, obviously it does. At the same time, I mean, I'm still trying to go to the target, so it shouldn't be a problem.
You just go through your motions regardless of what I do and hope that I'm going to do the right thing and back out. All right, here comes Wes McElroy. He's into the wind and to the plate. That one was a little bit centered up, but let's do it down and in here. So down and in, a little more difficult, and as you can see, his foot comes out a little bit closer towards me. I didn't do what I was supposed to do right there and get out of the way. Let's do that one last time, even further down and in, make him shuffle a little bit. So there he is there. And as you can see, he doesn't care what I'm doing. He's kind of shouldering me out of the way. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to shoulder me out of the shot here on FSI. Sim, thanks a lot for being here, man. It's been great having you in Richmond.
For sure.
Catcher Eric Sim, kind enough to join us and teach you how to cut down would-be base stealers here on FSI Field. And again, throughout the year, we're going to teach you just about every aspect of the game. Already had Tyler Graham in here trying to teach you how to beat catchers like Eric Sim on the base pass. We'll let you decide which one had the better tutorial. Many thanks to say today to our correspondent Michael Feldstein, for my co-hosts Wes McElroy and Jay Burnham. I am Jon Laaser, thanking everyone who makes FSI possible, Colonial First Mortgage, James Limousine, and of course, your local Richmond GMC dealers bringing us that gigantic Yukon XL. One last reminder, text FSI to 44544, and you could be this week's winner or one of those winners of a Flying Squirrels prize pack. That's all the time we have for our special guest, Eric Sim. I'm Jon Laaser saying thanks for joining us here on The Diamond. We'll see you again from Flying Squirrels Insider.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by the all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, offering professional-grade design and functionality. The all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, now available at Richmond area GMC dealers. Dan Doherty at Colonial First Mortgage, assisting customers with home purchasing and mortgage refinancing. Online at colonial1mtg.com. And by phone at 804-218-4444. And James Limousine, driven to serve Richmond for 22 years. JamesLimousine.com, 804-273-1540.